trying out a bit of a different setup, so I'm hoping that everything is gonna work alright. Hopefully it does. So I just came back to this bonfire. This is the one that we opened, and then that's the secret ladder. But I forgot that this guy's out here. Wherever he is, I've forgotten now. Over here. I was just running around grabbing the items that were out in the swamp, just to make sure that I got everything. I picked up the ringed knight straight sword and all the stuff that was on this walk up to where Midir was breathing fire down on us. You should be able to get this after, even if you haven't killed Midir, because he will have fallen down. As long as you knocked him off the bridge, he will have fallen down, and he won't be up here to breathe fire down. But over here, I believe this is where the ringed knight's straight sword was, right on that corpse. But there's the locust preacher right here.
And so, despite his weighty armor, he lived in fear of a delicate thing, little more than a girl. Where fire resideth, shadows twist and shrivel, but in the abyss there are shadows none. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin. And so, she lived in fear of the dark, of the things that gnawed at her flesh, and yet the abyss hath yet to produce any such creature. Fear not the dark, my friend, and let the feast begin. And so, despite his weighty armor, we fear not and let...
So like I said, he's talking about our NPCs. So one was a girl who had little things in the dark nibbling at her. And he says the abyss hath yet to produce such a creature. But, we seem to... it seems to be that it's humanity is what the little things in the dark that are nibbling at Irina are. And we ourselves, humanity itself, is born of the abyss. The irony. But he talks about Egon too, and how despite his heavy armor, he's still afraid of Irina and what she might do. Don't know if there's anything I need to wrap up in the shrine. There's not a whole lot left. There's a few little things. Oh, I don't know. I may have off screen sold a bunch of, I think what was left of my consumable souls. I picked up a couple more since then. But I sold off I sold off all the spells and miracles I wasn't going to use, and a chunk of all the weapons I wasn't going to use, and all that stuff, and all my consumable souls. And I got a couple levels. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to use Midir's soul, consume it, or get the frayed blade. But yeah, these are the rings I'm using, by the way. Ring of Favor +3, Clemency +3, Havel's +3, and the Prisoner's Chain. So I'm 75% without the Havel's ring. I'm using it so I can use. I mean, to be fair, I'm also holding the quills in my main hand as well as the twin swords. But yeah, I did hold on to these because I don't know if we actually talked about them when I picked them up. I probably just picked them up and then forgot to ever look at them, which is, you know, on brand. So this was a lost Way of White miracle. So if you remember, the Way of White is the covenant that Petrus in Dark Souls it tries to get you to join. That's the covenant he tries to get you to join right when you start your journey in Firelink Shrine. So it's an old miracle, an old miracle. You know, it's lost by this point in our timeline. Launches a discus. Long ago, when the imprints left by the gods were still deep, miracles of the Way of White existed alongside Ariels. Those who yearned for the long-lost Ariels fully believed they would return one day. So, in Dark Souls, I think exclusively if you're playing online, you can see like miracle resonances, and they show up as little Ariels or little circles that look like these discuses just on the ground, and using a miracle near one would increase the power of it, and that's what it's referring to. And then we have Soul Stream. So this was what we picked up in the church with the wretched fast birds that we got to in the Painted World of Ariandel. And this we picked up in the archives. So it was imparted by the first of the scholars when Lothric and the Grand Archives were but young. The first of the scholars doubted the linking of the fire and was alleged to be a private mentor to the royal prince. So, the first scholar is, at least in theory, a reference to the scholar of the first sin, which is where Dark Souls 2 comes into play here. Which, you know, is not necessarily something we have a basis for, where we skipped over and went from Dark Souls to Dark Souls 3, but something to keep in mind as we go back and play Dark Souls 2, that we have what seems to be some hint or maybe just a loose connection with the first of the scholars doubting the linking of the fire, and allegedly a mentor to Lothric. I don't know if there's anything interesting here other than what we already know. Nope. Early men forged their weapons in the abyss, and the gods sealed them with fire. This is a neat weapon. It scales with everything too, which isn't uniquely helpful to us, but it's just a good longsword. Pretty cool. But yeah, I think we're about there. unfortunately, this is just about the end. We have a little bit more to go, a couple more bosses, but there's not a whole lot between the bosses. It's mostly just a gauntlet from here on out. But, oh well. Wait, where am I? Where am I going? Oh yeah, this is right. No, it's not. Where am I? I've lost myself. Can you hear the turtle man scuffling about? So I did already kill him once, and I picked up the ritual spear. Piece. Oh, there it is. So the Knights of Princess Filianore. When spears of the church face unduly treacherous foes, this allows them to draw upon former majesty and summon a row of upward thrusting ritual spears. We also did pick up the Church Guardian Shiv, and I don't know if we ever actually looked at it. Wielded by the Guardians of the Church of Filianore. Guardians of the Church who oh my goodness. Of whom few remain, watch over Princess Filianore's eternal slumber, along with the spirits of the church. So, it, actually, this one I can use without being online. So it throws little illusory shivs. Is that an item that I didn't pick up? I did run out here and just kill him once for the great swords and pick up the items that were around, but I obviously didn't get this. He's a beefy boy and he hurts. Oh. So I am just gonna... Oh, clip me. Oh, clip me again. Run to the church. Uh-oh. Turn back by the king's decree. Yeah, I know, you're angry. You're very cool, I get it. You're very edgy.
Foolishness. The king's decree is no trifling matter. I, Judicator Argo, shall deliver thee justice. Spear of the Church, sworn defender of our Princess Filianore. Hearken to the call that summons thee. Make haste.
So... That's a painting guardian. I'm a little disappointed. Ow! You. So, this is half-light. Half-light. Ow! Who hits very hard. That's a healing spell. Okay, alright, I get it, Half-Light. You hurt. Oh my goodness. Okay, where's Half-Light? Stop that. Oh, there he is. If you're playing online, ow, stop it. So that's the Frayed Blade, the katana that you get from Medira's soul. It's a very cool weapon. Nope, can't parry that. Watch out for that, because he does like to parry. Watch out for the spears. Ow. Hit of arrows, bud? Okay. Yeah, so the Spears of the Church is a covenant. And you can be summoned to this boss fight if you're part of the covenant. And you will fight the player. Or you'll have to fight another player. So it's a bit of a PvP boss. I am, right? I should be. Maybe I'm not. To be fair, I didn't really notice any messages. Maybe I'm not playing online. I thought I was, but maybe I'm not. But, you know, I'm sure you noticed that the guardian of the church that he summoned was a painting guardian. So we know that Filianore is Gwyn's daughter. And all of these guardians, the obstacles we're facing are all in front of her, leading to her. So it seems that the painting guardians, as we know them, were guardians of Filianore before they became guardians of the painting in Dark Souls. As based on the timeline, the eldest daughter of Gwyn was placed here to guard or to protect or to keep the ringed city contained long before the events of Dark Souls, and even longer before the events of Dark Souls 3. Oh, a little rest here. Oh, I should probably just go back and use these. Half-Light himself is not a particularly difficult fight, but if you end up against a PvP opponent, it could be a little difficult. Really depends on who ends up getting summoned. I mean, not to say that Half-Light doesn't hit hard and didn't make me look like an idiot, but
very well. Then
just not a super difficult fight. Take that.
Ashen One.
So I got up to the 45 dexterity and just decided that the dexterity stat rings just weren't really making enough of a difference for me to be bothering with them. Hence the rings that I have now. And like I said, really Havels I'm only using because I'm wearing heavy armor and I'm holding onto the crow quills for when I want to use them. I could easily switch this out for something else and just reduce my equipment load a little bit, and I could use a huge bump from that, a little bit of a bump from that. I mean, geez, even this wouldn't be terrible. Like, it's extra damage absorption. It's not bad. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt, just keeping in mind that you're going to be ditching a bit of defenses coming from armor in order to take the ring off. What is this way? 4. Yeah, like, but I mean, like, that would bring me pretty close anyway if I just took this off and then took these off. Yeah, like, I'm down to 70.4. Like, I could very, very easily drop below 70 if I took off Havel's ring and the crow quills. Anyway, might as well just spend the 50 on something. Not that I really need anything, huh? Maybe I can just get a piece. So we picked up Half-Light's armor set in the room with Midir.
Ashen 1.
It's a light set. So is at the top or the bottom? Yeah, there it is. Ordinary garb from an ancient land of sorcery. The gold embellishments betray a faint residue of magic, but this clothing was never intended for battle. When a mission visited the Ringed City long ago, one of its younger missionaries elected to stay behind. It was he who became the last recorded Spear of the Church. So, you know, reason to believe that this is referring to Half-Light himself. And not impossible that it's talking about Elysiel with ancient land of sorcery, gold embellishments with a faint residue of magic, maybe long, long ago. Alright. We'll head back to the Church of Filianor. We saw Adjudicator Argo, who was there at the beginning and summoned the Guardians and Half-Light, but died after summoning Half-Light. Or seemingly died, anyway. Almost at the end of our journey. Very pretty. So we see there's a huge expanse of clouds and cityscapes and the ring itself of the Ringed City. The swamp below. We'll head up to the top of this Church of Filianor. so that we might find Filianor. So a lot of undergrowth, a lot of vines and bramble. This chamber has not been disturbed in some time. Assuming thanks to the spirits of the church. So she appears to be sleeping. At the very least, she's breathing. She has some kind of sphere, some kind of egg, but its pristine white exterior has cracked, exposing a dark, murky void. And this is what remains. So, self-important as we are, we just have to touch the shell, which causes it to completely shatter. And so whether Filianor was just another illusion, holding things in place, or whether in finally reaching here and destroying the shell simply caused her to push us to the end of the line is a question to be asked, but we can see that we are now completely covered in sand and ash. If we look out this side, We see 2 kingdoms still standing. We see Lothric Castle. And we see Anor Londo. The kingdoms that have survived to the end of all things. This is the end of the line. This is where Dark Souls ends. So, when we return the ashes of the lords to their thrones in Firelink Shrine, we push the timeline forward. We make a jump where the Firekeeper pushes us to a point of convergence where things are starting to collapse upon themselves. Timelines are falling apart and crashing into one another, where things need to be reset, restarted, brought back to quo. With Filianor, we get pushed even further. We get pushed to the point where this is all that's left. Ash. And what is even left in a world of ash to cling to? What more is this world for, if not but to crumble? Hey bud, you doing alright? Yeah, he's doing alright. I'm sure he's fine.
Filianor, help me, please. The Red Hood is come to eat us, to eat our dark souls.
Hey, that's the name of the game. Filianor, save me, the Red Hood is come to eat us, to eat our dark souls. So he's trying to crawl to Filianor, who's definitely in there, and is totally fine. She's totally fine. As he's afraid of the Red Hood. And if you look, he looks fairly similar to the first NPC that we met here in the Ringed City, who told us that Filianor was a prop. A cover on an overgrown privy. This is one of the Pygmy Lords. You can see how dark his blood is. As he crawls to what he believes to be salvation. He'll get up close and then he will die before he reaches her. Alright, Mr. Red Hood. I'm not scared of you.
here. Hand it over, that thing, your dark soul. For my lady's painting.
Okay. Probably not going to talk a lot with this, because this is not an easy fight for me. Okay. It's phase 1.
Is this the blood? The blood of the dark soul.
Music change. Well, hey. None of that, bud. Watch out for the cape. Those will come back, so you want to try and switch sides. Yeah, there. Phase 3. Music changes again. Ow. Shit. I'm not gonna get it this time. Especially not if I keep trying to heal while he's in the middle of attacking me. honestly surprised I got that far on the first attempt. Whew. And so we found Gale. Gale, who showed us the safe way to the Ringed City, who helped us along the way. We find here, at the end of all things, collecting every bit he can find of the Dark Soul, even if it means consuming the very pygmy lords of the Ringed City for his lady's painting. Ooh, I don't know that lightning is that big a deal. I don't know if he actually gives a shit. But to be fair, I also don't know if he gives a shit about anything else. Use these. He's surprised even to still see us here. At this point in what's left of the timeline. Oh, he coming. Oh, I got the stun, but he hit me. He's gonna fly at me. Oh, just got it. Okay. Oh, what? I don't think I've ever seen him do that. Stop it. Oh. Okay. Well. Good form. Good form. Right into the lightning strike. Gonna do the teleport again? Nope. That was weird. Forget how far that trail of his cape goes. Ow. Shit. Get out of there. Shit. Please, Father Gale. Fuck. Okay. Okay, no, that's good. That's fine, actually. I just had to go for the hit rather than backing off and healing. Oh well. That was a good one anyway. I got it. It's just a matter of patience. And remembering how many times they'll swing in which phase. Yeah, no, that's good. Well. Okay. 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 Don't want to switch up weapons, do I? Could do on a Kiryu Badachi instead. Let's give him a shot. Because I'm not really that worried about building hits. I'm more concerned with just getting a couple good shots in when I can get them. It's just the animation committal for the Kiryu no Badachi it's a little higher. Well, that was very likely the wrong play. I'm doing the thing where everything was working fine, I just got a bad run, and now I decided to change things for no reason. Twin swords are doing just fine. I just gotta remember not to rush. Take my time. Kill him softly. Okay, don't take that much time. Not enough that you don't dodge roll anymore. I do not like where we are. Ow. The hell, man? Good night, Gale. Well, my heart's beating very fast. But there we go. Almost screwed it up the exact same way again by getting overconfident. Or not even overconfident, just greedy. So here at the very end, we fight someone who is not so different from us. So we get the soul, and we get the blood of the Dark Soul. The red-hooded, wandering slave knight Gale sought the blood of the Dark Soul as pigment for the painted world, but Gale knew he was no champion, that the Dark Soul would likely ruin him, and that he had little hope of a safe return. So, there's a reason he guided you here. He knew from the first DLC, he knew from you entering the painted world of Ariandel and bringing fire that you were the champion. He was no champion. He knew then that this is what he needed to do. That he knew that you would be able to get here to him at the end of all things, at the end of time, at the end of Dark Souls, to free him and finish what he started. So we also got the Blood of the Dark Soul, which is a key item. Blood of the Dark Soul that seeped from the hole within Slave Knight Gale, used as a pigment by his lady in Ariandel to depict a painted world. When Gale came upon the Pygmy Lords, he discovered that their blood had long ago dried, and so consumed the Dark Soul. So their blood had dried in their veins, they had hollowed, and so he literally consumed them to get the blood of the Dark Soul. To consume the Dark Soul within them. So the furtive Pygmy claimed the Dark Soul long ago and began to divest it. And we are part of that. All of humanity, all of the humankind has spread from that Dark Soul that the Pygmy found at the end of the Age of Ancients. I love the Slave Knight Gale fight. I love how cool it is from a story perspective that he has been guided from... So, I think we looked at the Slave Knight set. So, issued to Slave Knights. Long ago, the undead served as slave knights, warriors used as fodder in the bleakest of battles. So, these are the knights that Gwyn conscripted to finish his war with the everlasting dragons. That's why the slave knights that we see in the Ringed City use lightning. They were given this power by Gwyn. They were used as slaves, as cannon fodder in his battles. And Gale survived that. He's a veteran of the war against the everlasting dragons, and he has made it from all that time ago, at the beginning of this cycle, to at the very, very end, where the cycle finally closes. This is it. This is the end. And he was driven by so much purpose that he made it this far. He never hollowed, he never gave up, he persevered and continued his quest all the way till now. All the way till when everything else ceased to have importance. He still remained, knowing that you would eventually come for him. But I'm curious if in that fight you noticed any similarities to a fight we had in Dark Souls in its DLC. Because he fights not dissimilarly to Artorias. He has the flipping moves where he swings the sword overhead and lands down multiple times in a row. He does the powering up with the explosion of skulls, whereas Artorias' was an explosion of the abyss. He fights with a similar style, using the one arm for the most part. And even at the very beginning of the fight, in that opening cinematic, he flings the dead body that's skewered to his blade at you to start the fight. Which is exactly what Artorias does in his. It's the music on each phase is so good. The change on each phase is so powerful. And I do really like that they didn't have it be multiple health bars. That they just gave him a beefy health bar. He hits hard. And as you whittle him down, you see him being consumed more and more by the power of the Dark Soul. And, you know, he's no longer able to kind of maintain who he is other than just simply fighting. But you can see the thrones of the Pygmy Lords, their bodies scattered. I love this fight. I do really like the last boss of the base game, but this to me is the last fight of Dark Souls. This is the end of the game. This is the end of the series. This is the end of the Dark Souls that I came to know and love. This is where the story ends. It's fighting another Hollow or I guess a human, who didn't quite become Hollow, because through all this time, across multiple games, we've been able to maintain, we've been able to continue to fight against this game as much as it tries to punish us and tries to keep us away. We continue to push through and we continue to persevere to get to the end, because we still have purpose. But we have something very, very important to do. Because Gale couldn't be the champion. He couldn't be the one to see it through victorious, but I think we can help him to still achieve his goal. In a painting now burning, with the fire that we have brought,
My thanks, Ashen One. With this will I paint a world. Please tell me thy name. I would name this painting after thee. My thanks. I will paint a world of that name. It will be a cold, dark, and very gentle place. And one day, it will make someone a goodly home. I wonder when Uncle Gale intends his return. I hope the new painting will be to him a gentle home. My thanks, Ashen One. I will assuredly finish the painting of a cold, dark and very gentle place. One day, it will make someone a goodly home.
And so while Gale had to live in a world full of war and strife and hardship, he saw it his task, his purpose to help create a world that's cold and dark and gentle. Somewhere better. And with that, there's only one thing left to do. We bring Dark Souls 3 to a close.
Ashen one for the link. Very well, then taken.
Sure. Well, yeah, why not? I was going to start doing a bit of a luck build this go, but I decided against it.
Ashen one.
So with Gale's soul, we get the Great Sword, the only weapon that he kept with him from beginning to end. Originally an executioner's sword made for decapitation. The blade is heavily chipped and stained with the blood of countless battles. It's fun. It's a bit of a quality weapon, even though it skews more towards strength. It is pretty fun to use. The Blade of Peril lets you do some of his moves, and that's really fun to do. Yeah, there we go. This crossbow, customized for repeat firing to face mobs alone, was wielded by Slave Knight Gale. Used in the battles of an endless journey, this crossbow is covered with twists and dinks, rusted with blood, and made extremely brittle from overuse.
How? Ashen one.
Ashen one for the link. Very well,
Ashen
then
one.
take.
Okay.
Ashen one.
Well, I guess it's time for the murder spree. Andre and the Shrine Maiden will revive if you kill them. Andre will not be happy with you, but you can request absolution to make him forgive you. And the Shrine Head Maiden won't think a thing about it, but her prices will go up. She'll increase the cost of everything, but she won't actually acknowledge the fact that you've done it.
Ah, yes. Oh, no. Do stay safe.
I do like you, Carla. However, my playthrough is over.
You're a fickle one.
Yep.
And vicious.
That's me. I was gonna say, where's her set? Oh, not much info on that. I don't think we get much from Carla's ashes either. But any NPCs you kill, you can just give their ash to the Shrine Maiden. The spurned child of the abyss never dies, but phases in and out of its fringes. Only there is no one to search for her any longer. So, a spurned child of the abyss.
Fine, fine. I see how. I can't complain. Oh, this old reverie had to end.
Cornix's ashes and set. Cornix was tired and defeated until he discovered one final pupil, like so many pyromancers before him. So, this is serving two separate end goals.
It seems
here.
too late. But why? Is that all I'm worth?
Yep. Orbeck was fascinated with sorcery but without means, so offered to serve as an assassin in exchange for acceptance into the Dragon Academy, believing that one day he could reinvent himself as a sorcerer. So, the man who trains you in sorcery, who is so high and mighty about it, was never even really a sorcerer himself. I'm gonna level with you. I literally can't kill Greyrat. I cannot find it in myself to kill Greyrat. And Yuria I will not kill just because I'm worried about messing up the ending.
Oh, thine heart is fit, but so that. Oh, no, when the
There's a separate. There we go.
I see Orbeck's claim is proven false. As it should be our right and deserving Lord of Hollows. It is a Londor treasure befitting of a true Lord. Lord of Hollows, may the dark sigil guide thy way. Honorable usurper,
So, she mentions how Orbeck is saying that he is the Lord of Hollows and he'll inherit the whatever. And so if you kill him and give her his ashes, she gives you, well, she says, good job, you killed him, and then she gives you the Morian Blade, which is a twisted sword resembling the towers of Londor's stabled church, 8 branching blades and thorns inducing bleeding. The church's blessings make the weapon revel in the agony of its owner. Heavy losses of HP boost attack, a curse most befitting its deformed appearance. So when you take large damage, large instances of damage, it gets a little, you get like a damage buff aura. It's just a long sword, really. Nothing super special about it. But that is the only way to get that item. I mean, I'm not gonna go back and get the book. I might as well.
What have you done, sweet champion of Ash? I only wanted to...
So you get the tower key from her, if you didn't already buy it. Irina was a frail woman. This frailty led to her becoming a saint of Karim, and to her grand treachery. And the Firekeeper too. If you kill the Firekeeper, she'll just respawn when you rest at the bonfire, and she won't have anything to say about it. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello again. Can't resist it. Can't find anything, are you?
It's time, Patches. The Reaper has come.
What's happened, friend? God spare. I knew something was wrong. Why me? Why me?
Oh, who knows? Just feels like maybe we've had a run-in in the far-flung future, Patches. That's all. Okay. Patches never lost heart and never looked back. He marched in one direction, and that direction was dead ahead. Did you see him passing by? Well, that about does that. And so we go to the kiln of the first flame. Pale shade. Yeah. And this one's Urea. Part of me does kind of want to summon Urea just because I think it'd be funny, but I think I want this to be a poetic end. I might use the wolf sword for this. I'm thinking I don't want to just burn him. I want a good fight. Because this is a very, very good fight. Stop it. Oh man. Thrusting weapons, my one weakness. Thank you. Curved weapons, my one weakness. Oh, it's right, power within. Owie. Always back to being a mage. And he's dead. Oh, whoa. The lightning caught me mid-roll plus the swing. Alright, okay. I'm curious if you see what this Soul of Cinder has to show us. I don't know that he can bleed. Also, I don't know. Oh, whoops. Well, sure. Let's try poison then, I guess. So hard not to get caught in that. Oh, you son of a bitch. Tracking. Soul of the Lords. Look how pretty. Since Lord Gwyn, the first Lord of Cinder, many exalted lords have linked the first flame, and it is their very souls that have manifested themselves as defender of the flame. this is everyone who came before us. The soul of Cinder is the soul of every player, every lord that came to link the fire. Okay, so I don't remember how every ending works, but there's the obvious leave and link. If you've given the Firekeeper the eyes, there should be a summon sign for her somewhere right around here. And you need to summon her first, and then go from there. I think for me, I just have to say that I want to link the fire for my ending. And if I screw it up, I screw it up. I don't really care. I've done all this. But this is Dark Souls. That's what it is. This is it. We're here at the end. So, first phase, in case it hasn't clicked, first phase of the Soul of Cinder is him cycling through the powers of all those who came before. So all the different kinds of builds. You know, he has the regular greatsword, he has the magic, he has the curved sword with the pyromancy, he has the lance. And then the second phase, he reverts, he channels the greatest threat he can imagine, the core of who he is. And as the theme starts to play, he channels the power of Gwyn. And you can hear Gwyn's theme. He uses Gwyn's moveset. He gets you caught in that same combo. He has the grab. He uses the lightning in an attempt to prevail. My ending worked. And so I take the flame within myself, and there it will stay.
Gracious Lord, make Londor whole.
Oh. What? Ah. And there where? That's Dark Souls 3. We did it. So, I didn't do every quest line. I didn't finish every little tidbit. I didn't get every item. But we did all the bosses. And my Lord of Hollows edgelord ending panned out. Where at the end we see Yuria and the other sister. So we know that Elfrida was one with Yuria, and then the unnamed third, who we saw there at the end. And then we also had Henri, if you noticed, who we stabbed through the face with a sword. So they seem to have gotten better. But that's it. So you can choose whether you want to progress to New Game Plus or leave as it is for now. And you can just start your New Game Plus run from the Firelink Shrine bonfire, just from right here. You can begin Journey 2 as one of the options. Right here. This game was nice enough to actually keep track of your New Game Plus cycles. Dark Souls 2 did it too, I think. But Dark Souls 2 also does this really fun thing where in New Game Plus cycles, they give you more enemies. Because that's what Dark Souls 2 needs. Even more enemies. But that's it. This is it. We're done. And whether you choose to defeat Midir or not, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. It's all... It just saves something else for another playthrough. Something new to accomplish. I didn't defeat Nameless King my first couple of runs anyway, I'd say. I haven't defeated Nameless King that many times, which is probably why I struggled with him so much. But, I mean, you know, it's kind of both feeding on each other. I don't do very well with his moveset, so I struggle, and then because I struggle, I don't always do his fight when I do playthroughs. Now I do. When I do playthroughs now, I go through him. Because it's a fun fight, even though it's a rough one. But optional bosses are optional. But yeah, I got nowhere else to go. This is it. We've done it. We beat Dark Souls 3. Now now to do Dark Souls 2. There's lots of people that love Dark Souls 2, and those people are valid, and you can like what you like. But Dark Souls 2 really does not connect for me. It has some really cool lore beats, but I find the gameplay feels clunky and weird. And I find that the sheer number of enemies is so frustrating to deal with at times. But we'll get through it. It'll be rougher than this, but we'll get through it. And, you know, then we'll maybe do a lore playthrough on Dark Souls. Now that, you know, once we finish 2, we'll have all the ties, all the information, and we can do 1 and put a bow on it. Hopefully at some point we can do Elden Ring. That'd be fun. But that's it for Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3 anyway. But this is where the the franchise ends. Well, that's that. Thanks for joining me on my last 2 bosses of the game run. This one's pretty short, but you know, thankfully they didn't give me too much trouble. Alright, that's it.